I'm Gracie Cartier, and this is What's the Jeuge. And I'll tell you, it's the power of alignment. And with that comes a lot of work one must go through to shed the skin of the caterpillar to become the butterfly and spread its wings to fly. My guest today is a registered nurse turned transformational coach dedicated to inspiring the LGBTQ plus community to embrace their true selves. Please welcome Kyle Tennyson.
Hi, Gracie. So good to be here.
Thank you for being here today. Your positive influence and presence has impacted me in many ways, and I know that your mission is to guide individuals toward a more authentic, empowered, and fulfilling life, creating healing that ripples through our communities.
I like to call it finding your personal true north. And so really aligning to like what makes your heart sing, what lights you up. It's such a beautiful experience. Yeah.
Why is it so important for you to show up this way in the communities?
It goes back to my journey and the path that I've walked. And I think as a queer man, growing up in a small town in the Midwest, I often felt like I had to or I needed to live my life for everyone around me. And through my journey, I realized that that never leads to happiness. It never leads to a fulfilling life. And so I started doing my own inner work, and I started reconnecting to what makes my heart sing and finding that personal alignment. And once you do that, you start to create your life in this really beautiful, profound way that feels really good all the time.
I'm curious, what was that process for you in regards to your transition from being an RN to transformational coach therapy and hypnosis work?
Uh, it was kind of scary at the beginning because I invested so much time and energy into my nursing career. I went through nursing school. I was a nurse. I was practicing nursing for more than 10 years, and I was really good at it. I was very successful, and I was also really unhappy. And so I think that first step for me was being honest with myself and my unhappiness. And then I just sought support and guidance. And I think that that is one of the biggest gifts that you can give yourself is to ask for help. And I found that help, and NLP was one of the first set of tools that really stopped me in my tracks and helped me make a massive transformation internally where I started to see possibility again. And once I tapped into that possibility, it was really just following my own inner guidance system. What does my gut say? What makes my heart sing?
That can be very scary. And I relate to you so much because that's the same with me. When I was a hairstylist, it's like everyone sees you as doing this thing, and it's even a thing that you always dreamt of doing. And it's like once you get there and once you get to the pinnacle of success, you truly realize how unhappy and how unfulfilled you feel and how connected you feel from yourself and the disharmony that you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's I like to point out that like I didn't leave nursing behind. I actually took my nursing and I fine-tuned it into coaching because nursing wasn't
Love
out
that.
of alignment for me, but I got to this point where I could no longer share the evolution of my gifts. And like nursing, the container of Western medicine was too restrictive. It served me to a point, and then it was no longer serving me. So I needed to expand my reality, and that's where my own private practice came in with coaching. So all of that background is still there, but being able to move forward with all of your gifts.
And what exactly is the true north, and how do you access or help your clients facilitate to access that?
Yeah, your personal true north is personal to you. So you'd have to answer the question for yourself. What makes your heart sing? What lights you up? If you think back to childhood, a lot of times I tell my clients to think back to childhood and like, what are those things that you used to do as a kid that you got so excited about and you could laser focus in and you would lose a sense of time and you would feel inspired and creative and alive? Like, what are those things that you lost from childhood into adulthood? And then, to answer the second part of your question there, like, how do I help people get there? Well, first off, I'm not a healer. Because I don't think anyone can heal anyone else. You can only really heal yourself. And so I'm a guide or a facilitator, or I like to say spiritual janitor. Helping clean things up.
And would you say that hypnosis work is a part of that process?
Yeah, absolutely. The reality that you experience, that we all experience, is all a projection from our inner world. And so in order to live a new life, in order to create a new reality for yourself, you have to start internally. And so we're going internally, cleaning this up and being deliberate and intentional about how we want to build our new life, or how we want to build our life in general. And by doing that, through tools like NLP and hypnosis, we can kind of get in there a little bit faster.
I'm always curious for those who are in of service of giving themselves their knowledge, their time, their energy. How do you replenish you?
This is some of the work that I'm working on right now, is also like really leaning into relaxation, something that I'm not always very good at. And so, just even you bringing up this question is very in sync with what I'm going through now, is just like really learning how to and practicing relaxation, which is, it's funny to think that you have to practice relaxation, but there, for me, I'll often like go down and sit down to relax, and then my brain will keep going and like thinking about things and projects, and like, no, girl, just like slow down, just breathe, and just like be in the trees and nature, and just enjoy the present moment. So yeah, it's a practice.
Why do you feel that we resist doing the work? We resist the change. We resist leaning in to what feels really uncomfortable.
The simple answer is that we over identify with our ego, and I'll explain that a little bit. Our ego is a part of our mind, and it's like it's a tool. It's not bad. We don't want to kill our egos. It's something that keeps us alive in this human experience, and it's here in service of us. And your ego only has the past to call upon when it's trying to make a decision or warn you against a risk or something like that. And so your ego will keep you in a familiar hell, as opposed to letting you move into an unfamiliar or an unknown heaven. And so even if you know deep down in your heart, I want to go in that direction, your ego's like, hold on, I don't know if you can survive that. Like that's scary. I've never been there before, and it starts to panic, and you might have that. That's where the anxiety and the fear and the angst kind of comes in, and so that resistance comes into this attachment to the past familiar safe space. Even if it's hell, even if it's uncomfortable, it will want you to stay there because it knows that you can survive. And so I'll invite you to use your fear as an invitation to dive in headfirst. Now, obviously, if there's like something like if a bear is chasing you and you have fear, like, it's going to keep you alive, right? But if you're looking at what you want to do and how you want to build your life, and you feel the fear, or you feel the anxiety start to bubble up, that's a beautiful sign, a beautiful signal to your body that it's the right thing. It's like it's a little bit scary because it's unknown. You've never done it before. So dive head in first and create what you want, and really, you know, give yourself the opportunity to light yourself up and feel amazing and excited and passionate.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for sharing your time, your energy, your wisdom, and your insight.
My pleasure.
And there you have it. For more shares like this, check out our website at pluslikemedia.com and make sure to follow us across all socials at @pluslikemedia. Till we meet again, transformation requires work and radical honesty with yourself. Let's start there.